Hi, welcome to Visual Studio Toolbox. I'm your host, Robert Green, and joining me today are Lucian Wishick and Anthony Green.
No relation.
I was thinking, what joke would you do about that? But I decided to pass. But you saved me. Thank you. And these guys are PMs on the languages team and are joining me today to talk about Visual Basic and lots of cool things that are new in Visual Basic in Visual Studio 2015.
Totally.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Robert.
Thanks for having us.
So what's new in Visual Basic?
There are a heck of a lot of new things. This is really exciting. Now they've all come together, and I'm just really excited to see them. Seriously, I've spent the past 2 months just writing apps using the new version of Visual Studio 2015 RC. And every single hour, several times an hour, I chuckle when I have a neat piece of coding using the new language features. Can I show you straight away some of the new stuff? So here I've got a simple method called print, which takes a patient. The patient is a class with a name and a health. And the first thing I notice is if p is nothing, then throw argument null exception of p. Now, how many times have you done something like rename it, call it patient, and then you forget to rename the argument null exception? Well, that's always been a problem. So one of the new language features is called name of.
I never forget to. I usually don't even think about it in the first place. You can't forget about something unless you thought about it first.
Yeah, and you just get...
And then you wonder, if you forgot about it, then when your code doesn't work as expected, then you kind of have a sense why. If you never thought about it in the first place, then you waste time hunting it down until you say, oh, that's why.
It's a historical record of every name that variables have had in the past 12 months of product development. So what we're going to do is call this name of p. Name of, it doesn't do anything fancy. All it means is the string literal p, nothing more, nothing less. But the neat thing about it is that if I rename the variable, let's go here and call it patient, then control dot rename it, and it's renamed the name of as well. So
you can type the name first and then control dot to rename?
Yes. So there are actually two different ways to do rename. The first time he did it, he used the new inline rename feature where you just type it and it updates everywhere. But the other way, if you forget to do that, if you just aren't really thinking about invoking the refactoring explicitly and you start renaming it, Visual Studio will notice that you're trying to do it and they say, hey, can we do this right for you? I really love that because I forget sometimes to invoke the refactoring explicitly, and the fact that it kind of comes in and recovers it and doesn't break my program is a great feature.
I've always right-clicked and renamed, or this is even better. Cool.
Delete, control dot, it'll be quick. I want to show you something else that's nice about this. Like, I've shown you argument null exception, but that's kind of really boring, and everyone hates argument null exceptions. Here's one that's really important. I'm writing XAML, so of course I have dependency properties all over the place. And here I've got a dependency property. If I copy this and paste it into a new class and rename it, because of course I'm going to do it for the new thing, I forget to rename the string right here.
Right.
So what I'm going to do instead is I can change this one to name of age as well.
Oh, cool.
And that means if I wanted to call this height, rename it, control dot, it's picked up that name of. It hasn't renamed this one, of course, but we still need to do that. So it's not solved everything, but it's gone some of the way there.
Cool.
I want to show some other features that I'm really excited about in the language. There's a bug in this code, which is, it's not particularly obvious, but the way I wrote my class and the way I constructed it is that sometimes the health field is nothing. Okay, here's an argument null exception. I hate argument null exceptions. Let's delete that. Now, suppose that there had been a null argument in here. There was a malformed list. I'm not validating it. So here it's just going to throw a null reference exception here when it tries to dot into a null value. There are lots and lots of cases all over the place, all of your code, where null is a completely legitimate value and you still want to dot off it conveniently. And what we've done typically in the past is something, say, if of patient is nothing, then nothing, otherwise patient.name, blah, 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 which is a lot of code, yeah. So we introduced a new shorthand for that. Patient question mark dot name. Patient question mark dot health. This question mark dot isn't doing anything fancy. All it's doing is saying, hey, if the thing is null, then give me null. otherwise dot into it. And you can chain them together. Watch this. Patient.name.length I could have. This is a bit subtle. What this is saying is, if patient is null, then let's skip the entire rest of it. But if patient is non-null, then dot into it as normal.
Yep.
And just as a quiz here.
And if name could be null, you could put a question mark on name, right?
Brilliant. That will deal with a null name as well. Actually, we do have a null health up there, so let's put that there.
Cool.
I love the question mark dot. I'm using it everywhere in my code. I want to show you something else that I'm excited about. If you're like me, you really hate string placeholders because you get them wrong. Like, is it 0 or is it 1? Here I've just got 2 things which I can manage with. If I had 5 or 6 of them, is it 0, 1, 2, 3? Is it 0 based or 1 based? Let me show you something. I'm going to do a $, here. That's called a interpolated string. And I'm going to put patient question mark dot name right inside the string, and likewise for health.
So I have an anecdote on this that I shared with Mads. I'll share with you guys. I was at the Dev Intersection conference in Scottsdale a couple weeks ago, giving a talk on developer productivity improvements in Visual Studio, which was IDE and debugging and language features. And so I showed this, and I started with, string.format can be clunky and, can be easy to get wrong. And then, because I was just feeling cheeky, I said, Chris, I've never really had that big a problem with string.format. I don't know about you guys. If anybody here in the audience felt that string.format was, brittle and hard to use, and nobody said anything, like 100 people in the room. I was like, okay, fine. Show this feature, and the room erupted in applause. It was the biggest applause line I got all day. They didn't think ahead of time that there was a problem, but when they saw the solution, they absolutely loved it.
Totally. Let me show you a few other places where we might use this. Let's suppose I had dim width equals 100, dim height equals 200, dim color equals 1. This is just from an app I was writing yesterday. I wanted to have a dictionary of pre-computed hashes based on what the current width, height, and color were for whatever reason. And so I had dim d as new dictionary of string, and here was a complex object that I had to construct and I wanted to cache. And so I said dim key equals $ of width dot height dot color, and then d dot add of key comma my complicated object. So I was just using string interpolation as a shorthand for bundling a bunch of things together in my code.
That's a really good example.
Let me show you another example.
Now we don't need tuples.
File name equals pixels underscore width underscore height dot dat. And then I can do file open of this particular file name. Do you see what I've got wrong here?
In front of it
I missed the $, and so it didn't colorize it properly. If I'd put the $, in there, it would have got it right.
Okay.
Let me show you one other awesome use of this. Here I've got a matrix 3x2 from the system.numerics data space. I'm creating it, and I wanted to print out its values. I'm not very good at matrix math in my head. It takes 2 radians here. I have no idea what this actually is producing, so I wanted to print it out. If I'd had to done this with string.format, I would definitely have got it wrong. Here, what I've used is formatting strings right inside the string literal. So this is this element with this string format. And I've used another brilliant feature, which is new in VS 2015, which is multi-line strings have at last come to Visual Basic. So I start the string, and I just have a new line in it.
And that works for both interpolated strings, like you're showing here, and regular strings as well, right?
Totally. Let's run it.
Oh, yeah, well, I knew it was going to do that.
I did. I just didn't want to say anything.
Those are, I think, the most exciting language features that I find myself using most.
Certainly, you're going to use those features all the time. We've got a ton of other improvements that we've done that are just kind of small things here, read-only auto props, a few features that people have requested over the years, smart name resolution, but those are by far the most kind of popular, the most everyday kind of features, nuts and bolts. Yeah.
Anthony, why don't you tell them about some of the IDE features we've added?
We added a lot of them, and they're awesome. And I just walk off. No. All right, sure. I'll show you some of the cool improvements we made to the IDE because, you know, this release, in addition to new language features, we've worked on this whole Roslyn project for 5 years. And as part of the Roslyn project, we've rebuilt so much of the infrastructure for the IDE that we've made it like twice as cool as it used to be. So one of the first things here, you know, Visual Basic developers have been asking us for years to get kind of the same